Hi, everybody. Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming today. This is really going to be a special program. It's going to be professionally, personally, and poetically beautiful because of our featured poet, who is a dynamo, and you will discover that for yourself. The program title today is A Wrinkle in the Fabric, and I know she's going to address that. She's going to tell us why that's the title. So I'm excited to hear what she has to say. However, before we get started, I want to do a quick walkthrough with housekeeping. Everyone, please mute yourself when you are not talking. And that's very, very helpful. And also too, if it's at all possible, wait until there are natural breaks in the program to put in the chat your own promotional materials, because otherwise we're taking away from the reader and the open mic readers if we're typing away about our own book while they're reading their work to us. So it's out of respect for them that I ask you to hold off on promoting yourself until the appropriate times. And yes, there will be appropriate times for that. Now, one final note. At least 2 to 3 times in the chat, I will put in how you can access Phynne Belle. So you don't have to worry or try to remember or use that moment in the question period to get an answer to that. I will provide that in the chat. So it will be available at your leisure for your convenience, and we don't have to repeat that again and again during the question period. So the basic format today is going to be, I get to introduce this phenomenal woman to all of you. I'm excited to introduce her, and she's going to introduce several of her special guests to us. She's going to tell us who they are, and they're going to read for a brief period of time. After that, well, actually, before her special guest, I'm going to do a quick Q&A with Phynne Belle, and that's your opportunity to ask questions about something she's read or something she said. Then we'll go to her special guest, and then we'll go to the open mic segment of the program. Now, this is a really packed program today. We have basically 6 open mic readers who it's first come, first serve, who will be reading their work. And then after them, we have a waiting list of 2 to 3 poets who also would like to read if time allows. Phynne Belle has been generous enough in our conversations to say she's going to pull back a little on her presentation in the hopes that there will be enough time for everyone on the wait list as well as the open mic list to have a chance to read. Very generous on her part. And then she's going to send us off with a final wrap-up poem or two. Okay, everyone got that? Okay, and remember, yes, Celeste, I agree, absolutely. And remember, I will post in the chat several times how to reach her so that if you want to know more about her or any of the, palette of programs she has to offer, you will have that opportunity to get that information from the chat. Now on to our beloved feature. I'm going to read you, Phynne Belle, you look beautiful, by the way. You look really pretty. So I'm going to read you what she sent me, and then I'm going to add a personal statement or two to what she sent me because there's more to her than what she sent. Phynne Belle, as you can see, Phynne wave, sweetheart, wave. Okay, thank you. She is a Forward Prize nominated poet and a teaching artist. She is lead editor of Mayari Literary Microjournal and co-director of the Poetry Global Network. In 2023, she contributed to that network's first anthology, Kaleidoscope Poetry, which includes works from poets around the globe. Her work has also appeared in Sinew, 10 Years of Poetry in the Brew, and the Bronx Memoir Writers Project. She has a collection of poetry entitled Some Days Here. I love that because I'm into the days it's there, wherever there is, right? Through her online platform, and this is important, and this is why you'll want to know her contact information. Through her online platform, I don't know how she does it, but she does, The platform is called Fincabulary. She organizes poetry events and programs almost daily. I mean, I would say almost daily. She has so many programs and offerings that she provides, and her goal is to make the literary arts, poetry in particular, accessible widely. Now, this is true because I've attended some, and her welcoming position is, it just opens people up to their own poetry and to the poetry that they're listening to. It's a special gift this woman has. And as an editor, she assists writers and poets around the world by offering support, feedback, and critique. This is where it gets personal for me. Okay, this woman, I asked her to provide me with feedback on my collection, Moonkissed, Earthrot, Vision Drunk, which is a hybrid of art and poetry that is now, Shauna, I said I'm going to post her information in just a little bit, okay? So I asked for her feedback on Moonkissed, Earthrot, Vision Drunk, which has just been published by Bottle Cap Press as a hybrid of poetry and art. And after feedback from her and our conversation, she is so illuminating that it became apparent that this piece is also a poetry performance piece. And so it became transformative. Not only did she help me, guide me through the transformational potential of this piece, she offered the first platform for me to present it as a poetry performance piece on one of her Fincabulary programs. So I have a personal debt of gratitude, if you will, to this woman who's done so much for me. It's a real gift to be able to bring her to you. And she is available for that service as well. You can talk with her when I post the website on the chat. And so with that, I would like to introduce this fine, creative, and caring soul to you as our feature poet today. Mademoiselle, take it away.
Thank you so much, Karen. I really don't know what to say, except that I have the utmost trust that you know exactly what's in my heart and my soul. And it was a blessing. The universe blessed me when we connected. So I want to thank you and thank Anna and Robin and Northway Poetics for having me. This has been a bit of a space that's been a mystery to me. It's kind of like the key. I was looking for the key in all the wrong places, and I've been wanting to attend. And so I'm here, and now I know how to get in. And I'm going to try to come more often. Okay, so A Wrinkle in the Fabric. This is the theme that I chose when Karen asked me if I wished for any particular format to this afternoon's program. Why did I choose it? Really, there was no good reason whatsoever. I really thought that the sound of it was lovely. The idea of it was something worth exploring, but at a later time. I had first repeated it to myself under my breath, hefted its weight on my lips to feel the possible hidden meaning. When I was at Dan Brady's Sacred Grounds a few months ago, so here's a little secret. I've been hoping every week that I go to Sacred Grounds that I would be picked for his door prize to pick the theme for the following week. I haven't yet, not since like 2022, but that's my thing. I love themes. So this was actually something that I held onto A Wrinkle in the Fabric until the right moment. It was not chosen. I was not chosen to pick the theme. And then so when Karen asked me, I said, wow, well, I've been dwelling on this for a bit. So yeah, A Wrinkle in the Fabric, many a conversation with Karen in this past year. And I would often repeat how the direction of my poetry's narrative throws supplication out into the ether, and how it dialogues fervently with the universe and is unfailingly heard. The universe whispers back its reply. It is always exactly the guidance I need when I humble my heart and I listen. The fabric of life wrinkles when imperfect love comes our way, and we feel it is our call to fix something about it instead of understanding to accept it or to let go. It snags and it burrs when we try to wear our day-to-day existence over our grief and over our heartbreak, only later finding out when we cease fighting against its bending and threading, it eventually finds a gradual, natural way to coexist with our life, with our joy. And we began to see the panoramas of that fabric ever more clearly, and we began to smooth out this mess. We celebrate this woman we are, this divine, chaotic being, unapologetic, more and more whole. We are forgiving ourselves and reclaiming our identity in being unafraid, acknowledging we had to lose it a bit of the way to arrive at this very point. I hope you enjoy my poems. Dent. Am I the one who is failing to see the outcome between the curvature of the thick lines? This poem is called A Depiction of You and Me, and I was hoping that I'd be able to share screen, if I may. Wonderful.
Yes. Go right ahead. It's open for sharing.
Thank you. This poem is called A Depiction of You and Me. Capturing our accurate likeness is a two-dimensional practice of patience. It's art of finding. I will not ever get the perspective right. We will not ever be perfect, even by trial and error. Committing our black and white rendered shapes to paper is drawing an ever-thinning line for me. Anxiety pacing ever forward, reaching toward you. You remain standing. In you, stillness seeks and finds its ideal model, burrowed in what you've tucked away for safekeeping. The line fast finds. It is not a precise path leading to you. It disperses its direction, crawls over our new crisp page, bears down, gas pedal to pencil, consuming the page, sputters, loses its graphite nerve and skips, stopping short. My sure hand leaps our black off the page. Drafts are now called finished work. Still life studies always occur from far away. Hear an easing of breath. In this version, see me smiling wide, and that one, the left half of your face, curves to join the shadows. Apologies. I have a feeling that my presentation is going to be naughty today. So I'm just going to read. I had 3 prepared that I wanted to do the presentation with. I think it's going to be better if I do it without the presentation. Okay, so I'm going to try to start where I left off. Committing our black and white rendered shape to paper is drawing an ever thinning line from me, anxiety pacing ever forward, reaching toward you. You remain standing. In you, stillness seeks and finds its ideal model, buried in what you've tucked away for safekeeping. The line fast finds it is not a precise path leading to you. It disperses its direction, crawls over our new crisp page, bears down gas pedal pencil, consumes the page, sputters, loses its graphite nerve and skips, stopping short. My sure hand leaps our black off the page. Drafts are now called finished works. Still life studies always occur from far away. Hear an easing of breath. In this version, see me smiling wide. In that one, the left half of your face curves to join the shadows. I marvel at how obscene, how clean, how pristine our likeness appears, guilt injected by association. No one ever looks that close at a depiction of real life on full display, but still they will claim that they had dinner last night with a starving artist. Everyone is an art aficionado. If you meet them in the great hall at the appointed hour, everyone wants to be an art critic, sans bon vivant. In this version, observe me tilt my head up to capture the fading sun. You are in this impression. If one squints the eye, there, see, you cling to the blurred edges. An observant soul passes by, remarks on the dry cracks of my Bristol board. The fissures appeared on purpose. Cell. Release the frightened words, bound and silenced, laying on the stony floor of your tongue. This next piece is called Where the Truth Coats the Diaphragm, the Lips, the Ear. Apology on my lips is the first air pushed out. Please understand, it is weary, not confronting, not aggrieved. I will bother you to take time and hear. Listen to these words, open up my lips. Even against my will, they disperse. 1,000 spores airborne, touching and tickling nose, inhaling deeply. I want you to know them, commit them to memory as they are right now, before they become someone else's to digest, to regurgitate, a chemical reaction in the transformation of their worth, their meaning, the moment they force their way up the windpipe, gagging the throat to hasten release on their way rising. I have learned the truth becomes only what is revealed first. Bold face captions, never what is unspoken, never what is waiting politely for its turn to speak out. I have learned the truth screams the loudest. It is never the quiet that is burdened, kept in closed circles, passed around, whipped up to a dizzying speed, crashing back down. The weight, a yoke of opinion forged in judgment, made culpable. So at the end, everyone's shoulders give up the fight and gradually sag. I have learned the truth is delectable. Court scandal lingers and hugs the mouth, ready to fizz and spit. No wonder at all there's no one who wants to listen to the unpopular version. No one wants this residual grit, the boredom, the damning facts that gather and perish at the bottom. I have learned in all this while waiting, that the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth has escaped. Someone, anyone, catch it. Everyone playing at volunteering, but no one caring to rise up. See what lines the edge of the cold metallic bone, move that laundered fluff aside to crane their necks and peer above the comfort of their perceptions. Assumption is the best weighted blanket. I heard a rumor. There's a damning photo floating round. Words disparate litter the cutting room floor. A call that could have happened, but didn't. Did I miss anything in this frantic retelling? Why do you look at me askance? Why? Was there more? I heard a rumor. They believed everything they first imagined. They swore in their minds that you promised them something, said you led them behind you, knowing I am barely able to balance on the same cliff. See, I too plunged to follow. See, I joined the adoring queue. I heard a rumor. They fell hard for you. You reciprocated in kind. I loved you. I adored you. You stumbled. I stayed. I fought. You still ran scared. I have learned the truth untended forms irrevocable curse fades to corners of bronchial to expire. A delusion of grace overwhelms the lungs' corridors. Unminded, it gushes back up. Ring. As a 3-year-old, I already was under the spell of your dainty wedding ring set, never knowing as an adult I would try to bargain with heaven to take their cold brilliance, take it, please, and send you back to me. This next piece is called Kitchen Witches, Grimoire for Grief and Healing. A tea leaf of lemon balm to seal cracks in my grieving heart. Chew leaf of mint to scrape the taste of tortang talong with achara and steamed rice from my tongue. Rub marjoram oil on chest and inhale the aromatic to forget the memory of you singing to our orange tabby as you bustled about the kitchen. Through the window, see the family gather around a rickety, worn table's humble blessings, transform a threadbare 4 walls into the chamber of a home's oven-warm soul. You left us behind, left a notebook of recipes, pages wilting and faded with age. Pain renders hand-scrawled instructions indecipherable. We do not make these same meals in honor of you. I cannot. Your departing spirit does not stoke the fire. We let the chill seep into our lives, steep our lamenting bodies, neck deep, torso and limbs, inured, inundated, to become deadening waters below. Our mourning makes of us a bone-cold broth. Burnout, wrap devotion, pay to the flame, glowing upon your palm. You did not take great care to heed, to notice the wizened makahiya catching fire beneath your boot heel. This next piece is called I Am a Banishing Spell. I am the waiting candle. I am the licking flame. I am the banana blossom heart-bearing sand pebble tear. I cast out the hollow trunk chest. I cast out the rot consuming my sugar pulp center forgiveness, gnawing at my guava bark goodwill. I am the pepper bitter rosemary. I am the salt of my dissipation. You do not touch the fine red dust on your knees to the woven mat of our bamboo yielding floor. She sways once. She dances along with the shifting weight within my muscles. She reminds me in the curvature of my relenting reed body, besides the tensile will of twining fiber perseverance, of not cragged patience. You are not welcome here. I am the pungent sweet sage and the sacred tree branch. I am my palm cupped beneath the gentle flow. The spring water delivers in her generosity. Know this. I wash my hands of you. Your fate is not solvent, object is not tangible, is not your will. Through sister Hecate, your poison is cleansed into its beginnings, into its purity. My surrender is our offering. I see my three stern faces relieved of their sorrows. I am cradled within the furled flesh fronds of my safety. So it was. Blessed be. So it is. Delicious. Eve relented, took a full bite out of the serpent's juicy apple, and decided she craved cherry pie instead. This next piece is called Original Inspiration. I will readily admit that when a phrase begins with the word original, the first word I think of following it is not inspiration, but sin. Perhaps 8 years of Catholic school really does that number on you, makes you think of just how much you've committed and how much farther from salvation you have situated yourself, and how much penance you now owe the big guy to assure that St. Peter admits you beyond those pearly gates. Or perhaps what I'm doing is completing the compound word unconsciously, like reflex in my mind. Original and sin, to me, are a bonded pair. Kind of just like rum and coke. Think about it. What would one be without the other? Honestly, I think either drunk or diabetic, and the hamster wheel gamut that runs in between. I continue that line of thought, concentrating as if down on my knees upon the hard, narrow wood slat within the confessional box, or as if I was meditating very piously on the transgressions I had committed, that I began reciting easily inside my head like litany, the ripple effect of the devil, convincing the serpent seducing Eve, and Eve enticing Adam, and how deplete and satiated, but also ashamed and buck naked all parties were at the end. I may stop to retrace my steps back at some point to determine my thought's origin, but inevitably become sidetracked and no longer care about where I achieved that connection, because daydreaming is infinitely more delicious in its succulent rapture, and I would rather begin to think of the cunning serpent as Carol's white rabbit, making our mother Eve into Alice. But no, I'm not satisfied with this answer, and I dig even deeper, and I find that Eve is really the rabbit. I find that Eve is not the instigator, but the inception. I find that Eve is a blessed event, the sainted bunny leading us all down the silk walls of her rabbit hole. And here we realize, as we tumble among prayers and penance, that the rabbit was dear Alice all along, and was always as mad as the hare, the hatter, his raven and writing desk alike, though still not quite the Cheshire cat, lip curled thick with all the answers, and certainly not the enlightened caterpillar, wise and all-knowing among their every quizzical mushroom. The queen, complacent in her red glory, is decidedly not Alice, not yet at least, not quite, but almost. I implore you, walk down the bramble path with me on this. Is it blasphemy to place the queen right back center in her Garden of Eden? Is it revolution to recast her, reveal her, and not revile her? Is it conceit to rinse clean the propaganda and tell her story from the beginning? For it is in the beginning, when her mouth birthed the cosmos, to first proclaim, let there be light. You feel you have heard it somewhere else, from a prophet receiving and echoing scripture, and I herald once more to you this mind-bending truth now. When all is said and done, you'll believe God is a woman. God, godlike, goddess divine, and pause, breathe, and absorb the sacred word. How could she not be? Believe, O daughter, confess, and you might get blessed. Can you recall in the timeline when she, so casually informed us why sometimes I believed as many as 6 impossible things before breakfast and then goes on and outdoes herself by +1 in dominion over the earth and every sea, flora and fauna, and still have time to kick up her heels in the pool, down a mimosa and look this damn good. I, Eve 1, percolating concept along with morning coffee. Rabbit 2, through the tangle of words we lead you red. Queen 3, I just flipped over the eggs, over medium, set that table. 4 and 5, inspiration, original, and pulpy. No doubt. I think I'll have 6 sizzling thoughts before the bacon jumps the pan. Flesh, no borrowed rib, fully cooked. Rooted. You are only as good as stand firm and do not give in to invisible naysayers. This piece is called Story Embodied.
Can we take just a second to absorb that really profound piece?
Yes,
That was exquisite. Do you mind? I don't want to.
No. That's my favorite. When I'm feeling.
I can understand why. Anyway, just take it. If anyone can just take a moment, just give us a moment to languish in its beauty. Okay.
It's for all the women out there. If you need it, it's there. It's there. Know your power. Love your power. You are a woman. Yeah. Roar. Yeah. Ooh.
All right, girlfriend, whenever you're ready, I just wanted us to have a chance to absorb some of its exquisiteness.
Thank you so much. Thank you. This next piece is called Story Embodied. My body has been journeying longer than memory can retain. Ancient mothers holding up parts of me, bending in praise of the soil that kiss my feet, in fear of dying en route. Ancestral hands straighten the pin of my burdened spine, lifting my heart to be looked upon by the sun, to slice it with burning rays awake. I am not allowing myself to fall down. We have a wasteland ahead of us, a promise given that beyond the waters are inviting, baptizing. The limbs of plants tangle to provide us a bed, the gentle leaf landing of a home becoming ours, a home found, smelling sweetly of the countryside we have lost. I bring with me a bone-weary body. A history has wrenched me from existing. I am culpable in erasure, a rewriting waist deep in the killing fields, an irrigation of blood, rewashing my story. I do not know where the journey is taking us, becoming family in flight. I only know we must continue trudging, ignore the hunger gnawing away at our gut, where we remember want and forget ancestry. Only the bloodied blisters on the soles of our feet tally our history in kilometers. Brutality, the drawing of blood, submission. Stand up once more. Farther and farther from what we have known, homeland is a guardian. We will stand up once more. Rape, mocking rematriation back into my body, a ritual perpetuated to separate me from self, from ownership of me. Submission persists. I'm standing. I'm falling down. I stand up once more. I am nestled in the womb that began my story. I will walk upon its shifting walls and remain, even as I depart and dissolve comfort of home, confuse and dilute my concept of identity. In this borrowed homeland, I scream. No voice emerges from my throat, but a mother hears the keening in a vast foreign wilderness. In the womb, I'm still toiling to emerge from, clinging to its contractions, fearful. I breach. My legs a stoppage of territory, leaking out the birth canal and abandoning who I am. I have unknowingly declared myself conquered territory. Go on. And the song plays on and on while you beat your drum, you gorgeous, asynchronous refrain. Instead, when you're told to sing, your heart out, tap the tune out on the checked floor and shimmy your way out the door. I want to thank everybody, and I want to finish with a poem that takes the wrinkles, the snags, the burrs, and transcends. This is Maya Angelou's Still I Rise. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? Because I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns with the certainty of tides, just like hope springing high, still I rise. Do you want to see me broken? Bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries. Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard, 'cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still like air, I rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs? Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. From a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear it in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the dream and the hope, the slave. I rise. I rise. I rise. Maya Angelou.
Ooh, let's unmute and give this woman what she deserves. Beautiful, beautiful,
Wonderful.
beautiful, beautiful.
That was stunning, Phynne Belle, just stunning. Thank you so much.
You laid it out, darling. That was great.
Oh,
Keep the
Such
feedback coming.
Such evocative work, sensual, and has such a beautiful river-like flow.
Excellent.
I appreciate
Yes.
that. I'm led by the water. So yes.
Yeah.
The water in myself. So yes.
Just gorgeous, gorgeous. I'm going to put her link in the chat because I know you're going to want to know how to get a hold of this
Oh,
woman at
absolutely.
some point. So it's in the chat now. Wow, just profound. So Phynne, just profound. Thank you so much. We talked about a question period. What I'd like to do instead is shift it a little, if it's okay with you. I'd like to invite those in attendance, if they have a question for you, and not how to write a poem, but, a question about you and your work. Now's a great opportunity. So if anybody wants to ask this woman a question or share your adoration of her work, please feel free to do so. Just hit the raise your hand thing, so I'll know to see you. And Anna, if you could help me with that, because I only see, 6 people at a time on my screen besides okay, the con, you get to go first.
I get to go first.
You get to ask your
My
question.
question. Congratulations, dear Finn, for the feature. My question. Um, being an editor, as well as being a poet, how do you balance that, those two crafts? Because they're very different. And how do you separate those two, the editor and the poet?
Both of them I go in very intuitively, as Karen knows this, and both of you and Karen actually share this, having experienced my editorship in a slightly different way. And I have to say, maybe I'm going about it wrong. I never really, read guidelines on how do you do this as an editor. I do everything with a lot of heart, I guess, and the heart is the root of that integrity, and that's what leads me. That's what leads me. It never has led me astray. It always points me in the direction of what I should be looking at, and often it reminds me that how deeply entwined as far as the editorship goes. That person is with their work. You can't separate that. You're not looking at something that is not living. You're looking at something that is absolutely living and absolutely irretractable from the person who birthed it. And I feel that same way in a way. I know that's not making so much sense, but about my own poetry, there is no way to go about it. And I often, and this year has been that kind of year where I shy away from producing, again, that producing something new or generating something new that is not emerging from that right place. So the time and patience. I hope that answered your question.
Thank you. Yes, Robin. Yes, Robin.
Okay, yes, Finn, I have a question for you.
Yes.
I'm wondering if you can tell us where the best place to go to read the poems that you read today. Can we buy them in a book or read them online or a journal, or what's the best place to get your poetry?
You can check with the link tree that I put on the chat.
My dog is trying to answer the question. my dog is she's fielding all.
Yeah, just so everyone knows, access to Phynne is made available in the chat with her website, which is a link tree. So if you want to find out more about her work, you can visit Linktree and get all the information that you need.
Okay, I'm just wondering if for the work she read today, if she has a recommendation for a particular book or source.
Yeah, right now, some of them are published in certain journals. Certain ones are in the anthology that Karen mentioned a while ago, the Kaleidoscope Poetry, which is through Poetry Global Network. The other ones, I am collecting them very gently and seeing where they lead me, because I promised myself that if the timing is right and the universe is speaking to me again, that either next year in 2027, I might come out with my chapbook for my next one. So yeah, that's where they would be if they speak in that way to me.
And it would be possible for people to contact you through your link tree and to express interest in knowing where you're published and news about what you're doing. So anybody who wants to be able to access her work, where it might be and where it is, please feel free to contact her through the link tree. We have time for one more question before she introduces her special guest. Is there anyone out there who would like to ask a question or express your feelings? about her gorgeous work. I mean, it's hard to put it into words, girlfriend.
I have a question.
And who is that?
It's Maria.
Great, go.
Phynne, when
Yes.
you have an idea for a poem and it's fluttering through your mind, maybe it's the first idea of a poem, how do you capture it so you can return to it, or say you're not able to write in that moment? How do you gather your poetry?
Um, lately, I found that if I capture a thought or an idea, as it is fleeting, I try to place it down on paper, let it sit for a little while. I'm going back to this part of me that likes to doodle or to create things that are colorful. So that would be part of kind of my conversation with that poem. I would take the line, think about it for a few moments. If it happens in the morning, usually it happens right as I'm awaking. It's something that's fleeting and usually doesn't make much sense, but I know it'll make sense eventually. And I've been getting better about writing them down. But I found that expressing it in another way. So if I do, artwork, or if I'm trying to find things in the library, all of those things kind of feed into that creating of that poem. Sometimes it doesn't turn into anything. Sometimes it's just a line, and it's wonderful, and it's iridescent for a moment, and it doesn't lead me to any further discoveries, about myself or about what's going on around me. At other times, it sits for a little while, and then I come back to it, just like the theme for this fabric, wrinkle in the fabric. I'm still trying to figure out what entirely that's saying to me. So that's it's a little bit not really super traditional. I don't put pen to paper immediately and say to myself, I'm going to produce something based on this illuminating thought. Sometimes it doesn't really lead to anywhere. But that's also a gift for me. That also seems to be a gift. Maybe it's not meant to be somewhere I go at this particular moment. Maybe it's something that I'm supposed to know now, and it gives me the full present, the full gift of what I'm supposed to receive when I'm able to receive it, when I'm able to to have the wisdom within myself to tell that story that it's trying to tell me.
Thank
Pass
you.
on the story.
Beautiful.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Beautiful. So, in the interest of time, because we do have a hearty handful of open mics and waiting list, I would like, Phynne, if it's all right, if you could introduce us to your special guests so they can have their moment in our North Bay poetic sunlight too.
Yes, indeed.
Thanks, sweetie.
Thank you. I am so excited when Karen said that I could possibly bring two guests, as part of the program that I want to bring, or the theme. I have just been so super in sync with these two beings. So I was hoping that they would be the people who would say yes right away, and they both did. I've known Lacan quite a bit longer. I met Jennifer because she started submitting to my literary magazine, and they are just both so wonderful and instrumental in my life, my journey, my healing, my writing. They inspire me every day. So I wanted to first introduce Lacan. He's going first. So Lacan is a poet, author, editor, and publisher. He co-founded the Poetry Global Network alongside Mark Fishbein, Martin Gray, Lawin Bulatao, and myself in 2021. He had a poem featured at a reading in the Weiner Holocaust Library in London earlier this year on the theme of Poetics on Migration. Lacan has been showcased at the Toronto International Festival of Authors 2020, Paris Lit Festival 2021, Nottingham Poetry Festival 2022, and Poetry Festival Singapore 2024. He won gold at Eliot and Independent Book Awards and is a Pushcart Prize and T.S. Eliot Prize nominated writer, among other accolades. So here is my beloved, dear friend, my soul brother from another mother, Lacan, and he'll put his information in the chat for sure. All yours, my dear.
Thank you, dear. Salamat, salamat. Thank you so much, Phynne, for inviting me to be your support feature for today alongside Soy Avocado. Thank you so much, Karen, also for having this platform. North Bay Poetics. Um, and today it is morning here in Manila. Magandang umaga, a beautiful morning to everyone. I have a few poems for you guys on that theme of Wrinkle of Time. And when I thought about it, I was like, poetry or poems are wrinkles of time. So and I've been writing about the colonial period of the Philippines in poetry form for a few months now. So let's do some wrinkling, quote unquote, today. I'm Lacan, by the way, sorry. I'm from Maynila, Pilipinas, or Manila, the Philippines. So here we go. First poem. It's a new poem, actually. It's like 2 days ago or 3 days ago. The title is She Dead Yet? It's the first day of 1906, and someone 123's the slow death of a mother, tongue twisted, a curated way to curl up a murder. The identity that is spoken in Mahal Kita. Apparently, keeping a parent is expensive. Convenience was a probable cause. When ina is called by the jaw, pulling the tongue out to say mommy, mom, mother, tongue marks an X, hits the spot, twanging even the screams. There's a way to teach the children to look far away to lie, blink an eye, as the mouth drips an accent to accent an orphanage in the lips, mimicking tulong as a debt too long. One would borrow words from the throat when blood is spoken with a stab. One would forget who is nanay patay. That's how you make an alibi. So 1906 was January 1, 1906 was the day that the American government required English to be the official language of the Philippines, but it was still a colony. And we'll go to the second one, which is much earlier. The title is called Halt. A lonely corner in Santa Mesa knows how to connect the dots between triggers and murderers. As a foundling imperialist power aimed at the innocence of a young republic. Liberty was lost in translation, but mercy was killed in the equation as William Grayson fired at 4 free men. A free pass to shoot a Krag Jorgensen rifle when English bolts out a spoken ignorance. to know that those unarmed Filipinos only knew Tagalog or Espanol, but the Americans only spoke privilege. As bullets conversed with artillery shells, the casualties are left speechless. When liberators turn into conquerors, independence becomes independence to a siren of crimes and the warrantless justice, as there is no benevolence in assimilating a destiny to manifest a evil given right to hide in a burden to wash white hands to be excused, executing 2 million of a nation into capitalizing arrogance in the Pacific. It all started that night in February 4, 1899, when Sosiego and Arguelles streets met in the deafening silence of war. But who cares about an archipelago far away for justice to reach? The victors and the dead would know. Thank you. The last one. I performed this piece at the National Library of Singapore for the Migrant Literary Festival, and 2020. And 2019, right before the pandemic. And it's called For Poets of the East. I often wondered, why is it that whenever we go to the West, we have to see gamit ang kanilang mga mata, breathe, karera no hanaw tukate, hear o nakikanon kaupayog karana, taste yung kamen ditwe, feel biastik dam basirat him. Why do we shut our own eyes, bury our own noses, fold our ears, stitch our own mouths, numb our own bodies to belong in the same earth that knows respect? How easy is it for us to forget who we are? Traded for what? Validation? Acceptance? For a few odd snaps? Snapping our spines to crack little by little, piece by piece, until our being has been too low, too nothing, to recognize who we truly are. Is the exchange worth it? To always translate for them ang mga matang ito na marunong tumitig. Kokyuno, shikata, shite, irurukurahay. Ikan josun sa katahin. Te tanghui, so hua de tui. At ha, al silid alat hi yung kin asher. Is it freeing to be always adjusting? Even when they visit our bodies of sovereignty, why do we bend the knee that has been stuck here? Dito, kokoni, yahan, taili, huna. Why can't we stop ourselves from apologizing for their laziness, their arrogance, their pride of being proud of not being who we are? We uphold the facade of their imperialism still, better than our assimilation, less so for our own cultures. And maybe you're still wondering, why is this poem still in English then? Well, this is also a notice for the West. Maraming salamat. Thank you so much.
Oh, can we unmute and just honor this man's brilliant work? I love hearing you read your work, and every time I'm mesmerized by it. It's beautiful. Yeah,
Always,
everybody
always,
let him
always,
know what you feel.
Bravissimo. I love you
always.
so much.
I
I do.
know what all that said, but I want to ask. loved hearing you speaking, not in English.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's just, wow.
Even that, for sure. Ooh,
Okay,
ooh.
thank you, Pecan.
Okay, let me find our next.
Thank you so much, Lacan. You know how much it means that you're here.
Thank you too, my dear.
All right, got part of this going.
Our next person, my next guest. So incredibly happy to have her as well. She just blows me away. I'm a little bit intimidated by her poetry. I really am, because she is just, her mind, transcends time and space, and the fantastic places where she can go with a prompt is just amazing what she does. You would probably you could experience her poetry just hearing it, but it is another dimension to actually see it on the page, because what she creates is just pure art. So I'm happy to bring along my friend, who's my guest, Jennifer Soy Avocado Leong. Pushcart Prize nominee Jennifer Soy Avocado started writing poetry in 2021 to raise funds for autism. In 2022, her poem Hills, written in her DuaTresPentaStep poetry form, won the Spirit of the Festival Award at the Francis Browne Literary Festival Multilingual Poetry Competition in Ireland. She often writes multi-directional poems, advocating for hope and poetry's accessibility to all. Big round of applause, please, for my friend, Soy Avocado.
Thank you, Phynne. Thank you for having me and for inviting me. It's really a great honor to be here. I will start with Burial in Soil, which was the first DuaTresPentaStep poem ever written. So it was born on 22nd April 22. So it's 22 for 22. So it's quite interesting that way. So Burial in Soil. What is soil except a community that accepts what I need help to bury? Within soil, burrows cocoon my sorrows. Hear all things spoken, so do voce count. Here, the white rabbit's watch dictates the time, says it's always right, lots left at the side. I inhale deeply, unmistakable soil scent, so earthy with layered accents. The underground gives a different comfort. That's not what is found in the above ground. My non-bionic ears cannot fathom the hertz of other frequency systems. There is a darkness that is teeming here. Much is going on. Perhaps I am wrong. Have I been misinterpreting, squinting right through these maladjusted eyes? The intangible seems quite within reach. Brand new discovery still feels whimsical. My hand reaches out, tightly grasps the soil. I feel a dampness and shards of sharpness. I let out a cry. We both say goodbye. Sotto voce with, 走你的阳光道，我过我的独木桥。I bury my head in mee siam, mee pok, fried rice, mee soto sounds my hurts solo. Hurts buried in soil. I go above ground. Listen to the sounds. The still shared sky smiles. The second poem I would like to share is called So This is Femininity. The dragon and the phoenix to ethnic Chinese are symbolic in weddings as happily ever afters. On this I thought a little harder. The dragon represents the male, the phoenix the female. First things first. Does the dragon ever thirst from all the fire he spouts, especially when he shouts? What is the phoenix to do? Turn into ashes without any ado, then return to original state as a phoenix with more on her plate? She foresees she has to repeat the bird to ashes cycle, replete with her duty to grin and bear it without any way out or sign of exit. It saddens her as well as pierces and breaks resolve into pieces. So this is femininity, and that is masculinity. The next poem I would like to do is called Cycle On in a Cyclone. And this particular poem was first published in Cycle in Mayari literature. Cycle on in a cyclone. Please do cycle on. I feel so awful. The wheels are willful. Turn away from me. The spokes radiate their own bespoke takes. A span is thrown, and the works again. Much needed, they say, to break my downfall and the viciousness of cycle's stone wall. But it's watery. Like a tsunami, my bicycle's built for two, and I'm one. I had a bad start. I fell, and it felt like I was laid bare in need of repair. The ground's angle tilts, so too perspective. I appropriate gears to navigate. Though in a cyclone still, I cycle on, alone, and no clone. In way, because cycle on and cyclone share exactly the same letters. And this is my final poem, Wrinkle in the Fabric. This is a new poem written especially for this today. A wrinkle is nice when it spices up a smile and edges of the eyes. Otherwise, it smacks of audacity, insisting on threading its way, wavering, then depositing its brand of silt on the fabric. A wrinkle is relevant material. It is not any sort of fabrication that requires authentication, for it is unplanned right up to its inevitable makeup of a crooked line. A wrinkle is a fermata, a pause, namely a dot with a frown for a crown, a time to enfold, hold on, to sustain without fear or distraction, for fe, F-E, A-K, faith, and symbol of iron, to iron and smoothen things out. A wrinkle is a bunching up of material that has met with a hiccup, which is a little cup that collects the best, soon-to-be unveiled line from a poet's spilt ink, invisible until it heats heat from the iron. A wrinkle is on the fabric, waiting to breeze through in the twinkle of an eye, to return to being smooth like butter, like the rest, not this time, because it is meant to make and take a stand. Thank you.
Wow, wow. Let's unmute and celebrate this woman's fine poetry. And also, I'm going to ask Lacan and Jennifer, can you put your contact information in the chat, please, for people who would like to be able to know how to find you and your work? Thank you very much. Well, I mean, has this been stellar or what? I would say stellar, capital S. It's fabulous, fabulous. So, and these are dear Phynne Belle's special guests. Lucky. Okay. So I'm going to take us over to the open mic portion. Everyone on the open mic list has going to be reading just one poem. I'm asking everyone to keep your intros to a minimum out of respect for the time we have left, because I really would like to hold some space for our feature to close us out with one or two poems. And we cannot do that if people take a lot of time introducing their poetry. Okay, so I'm going to tell you who is on the list in the order, so we'll know who's up on deck next. The list is, we're going to start with Robin. Michael, it looks like, isn't here. Michael Sindler. So we have Robin Gabbert, we have Rita, we have Doc isn't here, we have Diane Ward, and there is a Marianne Taft, and I don't believe she's here. I could be wrong, but that's going to be our scheduled open mic, and then we'll go to the waiting list. One final note about that. Thank you for everyone who ever asks to be put on an open mic list. list or a waiting list who takes the time to let us know they will not be able to show up before the event, so we can then offer that opportunity to someone else. And that happened today. Two of the people on our waiting list, I was able to usher them in because space had been made available by others who were kind enough and thoughtful enough to let me know they would not be able to attend. Okay, so Robin, you're up. Next on deck is Amrita, and then it looks like Diane. So take it away, ladies.
Alrighty, Karen, thank you very much. And thank you for bringing these wonderful poets to read to us today, Phynne and LK and Jennifer. Thank you so much. Fabulous, fabulous job. One poem today, my poem is called Thunderstorm. It thunders like an angry stepfather when mother is out and you're hiding under the bed, your knees clattering, your sister in the closet, teeth chattering, while old Jackson whimpers in his bed. It thunders like the crowd cheering a corrupt politician, knowing he's fondled the 14-year-old volunteer in his van. It thunders like a cat backed into a corner, a circus clown who snarls behind the smile. Like a head-on collision, it thunders like the slap to your face, the first time you told him no, the first time the dog peed in the house, the first time he stubbed his toe and had no one else to blame. Like your stepfather's prayer, now asking for forgiveness, saying he knew not what he did. Thank you.
Absolutely fantastic. Phenomenal use of repetition in that. Really, really compelling. Thank you so much, Robin. Rita, you've got to dazzle us, girlfriend, in one poem.
It's called the poem Within. A phrase shows up, maybe a title. It won't leave, begs to root, burrows, then gestates, often for weeks. Then comes the dive, not just down, but deep into the carnal, compels, requires embodiment. I sort through hunches, feel through to the quiet for precision, words by their rhythm, taste, texture, scent, weight. A wicked labor between pushes, I let the thing rest, then work with it, breathe with it, rest again until the shape reveals finally what it is.
Oh, now the pacing in this is wonderful. Very, very strong pacing. Thank you, Amrita. Diane, are you ready?
Shivers. I'm confined. I feel prejudiced against. I feel used. I feel mislabeled. I am mortified. I feel as if I haven't a voice or a say in some of the actions I am forced to perpetrate. There are those like me who look like me who feel misjudged. Our voices, our thoughts with spokespersons who never asked us our opinion or side of these issues. Why? Because we are only a tool, an object, color hardened by design. You'll use me and I'll cry. You'll die and I won't cry. Well, maybe selfishly. I am despised, propelled against my will. My targets I hear sigh. I cannot deny how much pain and suffering I inflict. I am sickened that I even exist. I can only move when attended. I rely upon others for everything I do, my grooming, where I go, who I interface with. My actions are scripted. I have supportive advocates. I am revered and worshipped. I am international. I had humble beginnings, as with most of our shared histories. I can be whored for trouble and pretend I'm for peace. Sometimes I amuse myself into believing that I keep harmony and provide an equal footing to the violence I am capable of inflicting as a last resort. In full disclosure, however, sometimes I'm the inciter, initiator, the taunter, the elicitor, the darer, the causer, the promoter. Humbled by your need for me, I, as I stated, can only move when attended. I never act alone. I rely upon others for every move I make. I am channeled into a tunnel whose daylight night light starts with a click, stages into a whistling breeze, then dulls upon impact. An impact I never know ahead of time, slowing me down. An impact I did not choose. An impact I supplemented without choice because I have no say in my use. I conform without a will of my own. To some, I am attractive in my sleek design, upgrades, ability to devastate you. My presence is unforgettable. I leave marks, cause cavernous spaces. I'm not heroic silver, however, as every bullet knows, we cause shivers. Thank you. I'll put
Beautiful reading.
I'll put it in the chat. This is from
Yeah, please go ahead
American
and do.
Graveyard.
Perfect. Yeah, please
Thank
put it
you.
in the. You're
Thank you.
welcome. Please put it in the chat. We're coming to the end of the program, so I want to make sure we get the rest of the program in place. Yeah, but please, all of you who've read it, put your information in the chat. That would be fabulous. Okay, we're going to go over to the waiting list now, and we may run a few minutes over. I hope that's okay with everyone. We need Phynne to close us out, and we cannot do that until she has read one, if not two poems of her own afterwards. So, waiting list, Celeste and Marcel, you are next, Celeste, and Marcel, you are on deck. So go ahead, my friends, and share your work. Thank you.
This poem is called My Therapist Explains What Happens to My Brain During an Episode. Those with bipolarity are often more creative and skilled with language. British Journal of Psychiatry. Moods as driftwood on Horn Island, photographed in lucent sun, as oil rolling in waves, as feathers swallowed by lungs. Moods as rabbits darting into the bush, as owl perching in oak tree, as scars on arms from snapped wooden pencils. Moods as praying mantis standing on a maroon Camry, as moon mounding over Jackson Square, as lilies a day early. Moods as lipstick cutting into smog, as hallucinations at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, as a 7-day pillbox. Moods as pearls rolling in a mouth, as kudzu leafing black wires, as sonnet eclipsing in a silver box. Thank you.
Oh, that was beautiful, Celeste. Thank you. I love your poetry and how you bring issues right to the forefront. And I just appreciate that. It's beautiful work. Thank you. Thank you. Now we're going to flip across the pond. We're going to go over to Wales. And Marcel, it's your turn.
Hi, thank you. This poem actually came from Karen's workshop on folklore, which Phynne Belle arranged and hosted. It's called Worm Moon, and that's the moon that we have in March, and it's the moon that represents kind of rebirth. Worm moon. She at the cliff edge waits for the morning, casts sea variegated worsted yarn onto bright knitting needles under the silver birch tree. Time counts by rows, greens and blues intertwine and flow over the silvering. Knit one for you, purl one for me. The clitter clank attracts eyes and turns her work amphibious. Throats join, hoping for a home. She whistles, changing her luck. The yarn wanes slow across the bay. Dew light unfurls her finned creation, slick and eager. She opens her mouth to the sky. Thank you.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. So Phynne, our workshop inspired that, okay? Pretty cool. Thank you so much, my friend. So we are come to the close of our program, and I would like Phynne to bless us on our way out with either one or two poems, whatever feels appropriate for you, my friend. And then also I want to thank you personally for everything and for being here.
Thank you so much. This has been such a blessing, and thank you for blessing me with your voices and your stories. They always nourish me in return. So thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed what I had to bring. This was a sacred, very, very sacred afternoon for me. In no small part because of Karen's wonderful, just wonderful energy. So two short poems that I want to leave you guys with. They are maybe not really well thought of because they are both on grief. So the first one is called Color of the Week. Thursday mornings call in the comfort of soup. In defiance of what the day's weather brings, pale blue-gray lined clouds make the day appear brighter, but without a companion of warmth. I left summer behind too many years ago. Sunlight was an embroidered sunflower on a dress that floated on buttered up toast breeze. I lift the firm wheat noodles up high. A glisten of oil and red pepper flakes cling on to each snaking length. Scent dances on the air, and I think of your impossibly narrow snoot, velvet black nose testing flavor in the steam rising, vulva eyes shining and eager. Ramen captured with cheap wooden chopsticks paints brief happiness against a cheerless kitchen backdrop. I let the bowl go cold. And then I wanted to end with this thing called floating postcards. I found out there is a place in Japan that takes postcards that are not really sent anywhere, and usually they're postcards sent to heaven or from people grieving. So it's in a place called Awashima Island. So this is called floating postcards. And I did it in a nonet form in 1, 2, 3, I think 3 successive nonets, and then a hexa. I can't remember the name of it. Death is a thief of proper goodbyes. I suppose he means well, wishes to save us from not knowing what to say first or when to stop. There is no stopping point. So much unsaid. Would I start with, it's okay, you could let go now? Do I lie, say, we will be fine? Should I confess I am lost child again, only soothed by my mother's touch? I press my lips to her ear. I love you. She is already leaving, but her eyes uncloud for that second and see me. They say she's always known. Tell me she has never doubted. Mother's love is a torrent, is a flood. a river from now to hereafter. On this, death has no sway. The drifting post office on Awashima Island will accept lost letters. I send you a postcard addressed to the ether. It says in shaky print, I miss you every day. Wish you were here, Mama. Sorry to end on such a sad note. I didn't think that through.
I thought those were love poems. They came across as love poems to me more than grief, but
in a way they definitely are. The love part of the grief, the love part of the
well, if it didn't love, it wouldn't be the grief, right?
Yeah.
So everyone unmute and we had a phenomenal afternoon with this wizardress of an artist here and her special guest and our open mic and our waiting list. So thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah.
That's been wonderful.
And I'm Jewish, so that's a big thing. That's a big jump to thank you, Jesus. Okay. So thank you, Phynne. Exceeded my dreams, and everyone who read brought it to the table. And Lacan, I can never hear your work enough.
Yes.
And Jennifer, the depth of your work, I was underground and above ground with you simultaneously. Thank you all so much. So I hate to say goodbye.
I know, so do I.